Nothing like finals football to get the juices flowing heading into springtime. And here we are on our finals edition of Around the WAFL. Welcome along to our first finals edition for 2026 as we head into the race for the flag. It is well and truly on this weekend, and we've got a stacked show coming your way. In a moment, we're going to have Adam Reid, the Peel Thunder coach, whose side has got a week off, but still planning to see both finals with great intent, especially with who's going to take them on after the qualifying final. We'll have a chat with Adam Reid about that and more surrounding the Thunder side as they chase their second premiership in 3 years. Also, Ross McQueen from the East Perth Football Club to talk about their elimination final against South Fremantle. And we'll also go bit by bit on each of the finals teams that will be contesting for the premiership. And an Around the WAFL flashback will take us back to 2001. And you might notice some familiar faces in the East Perth side in particular. And South Fremantle on this day were coached by a former Eagles premiership legend. Paul Persick with you, riding solo today on the WAFL YouTube and we on the Around the WAFL YouTube channel and where you get your podcasts. It's all thanks to the fine folks at Grants Car Stereo Morley District Promotions in East Vic Park. Also Front Row Screen Sport and Sullivan Logistics, transportation specialists in West Australia since 1996. And thanks for them for their support as well. We really appreciate it across the 2026 WAFL season and here on Around the WAFL as well. Now, the final five, well, it is set, as we know. Peel Thunder, Claremont, Perth, South Fremantle and East Perth finishing in that order after 20 home and away rounds. But Peel Thunder, they remain the raging favourites. Despite finishing the home and away season with 2 losses in a row, they still have some momentum heading into the finals. The week off will certainly be a blessing in disguise, and I reckon their coach would agree with that to an extent. And he joins me now here on Around the WAFL to kick off the first of our finals editions as he gets set for a week off, having finished on top of the ladder. Adam Reid, hello, mate.
G'day, Paul. Thanks for having me, mate.
Great to have you on the show. Would it be a fair assessment to say that despite the 2 losses that you had to finish off the home and away season to West Coast and to South Fremantle in round 19 and 20, the wheels haven't fallen off, really? It was just the occasional blip on the radar, and at least the week off will help you guys reset for that second semi-final.
No, I think you're right, mate. And a couple of good lessons, how tight the competition in the league is and has been this year. I mean, the final day was a roller coaster with the live ladder on the app. So the last 2 rounds for us have been a good prep for what's coming with the finals and how competitive it's going to be.
Because momentum is so important, isn't it? And 2 losses in a row obviously isn't ideal, but the momentum you've established across the home and away season has been absolutely marvellous. You've been able to get some good wins on the board, including against South Fremantle earlier in the season and against East Perth too. So the run that you've had across the season is certainly something for your side to be proud of, but at the same time, the work isn't done yet by a long shot.
No, look, incredibly proud of the club and the group. Winning a minor premierships, no easy feat in a league as competitive as the WAFL. And yeah, look, if you look at our 4 losses, I think we lost by 12 points, 1 point, 1 point, 9 points and 4 points. So every time we've ended up on the wrong side of the ledger, we've still been competitive and in all of those games, which is pleasing. That said, we were also on the right side of a couple of close games there as well. But yeah, feel like we've worked pretty hard for the week off, and we'll prepare as best we can and see what happens between Claremont and Perth, and looking forward to taking on whoever gets over the top there.
Your points on mental toughness about the chat we had about pre-season, I think could not have rung any more true. Your side has been a mentally tougher side in 2026 compared to 2025 when, not a lot of things went right last year with injuries and some form issues. But, you've approached 2026 with a tougher front, and it really showed in the results.
Yeah, you're right. We had that chat, and last year, incredibly young group from both cohorts, and injuries added to that. And we were probably on the wrong side of those results last year. We were in a lot of games for, 3 quarters, and then we'd drop away in the last, or we'd just have 1 poor quarter each game and remain competitive. And this year, clearly, personnel, like there's another year of development into a lot of guys. We brought some guys in. And, we've had pretty good availability from both cohorts, but we have been able to work our way through some close games, as well as, like I said, it is good practice even when you end up on the wrong side of those. But we were a bit more consistent this year in our output than we were last year.
The new signings, of course, really have stood out amongst the pack in 2026, none more so than Lockie Tardrew, who's could be a smoky for the Sandover medal in a couple of weeks. How have you found his game this season? He's one that's usually been in your top 5 best players.
Yeah, superb. Couldn't have asked for anything more. When you're looking to bring a guy into your club, you're not just looking for a good player, you're looking for a good person. And Lockie ticks both of those boxes massively. A great leader, a great role model for our young men. And, like we said, last year we were incredibly young. So to bring someone in at, Lockie's age and experience, 100 VFL games under his belt, is one of the reasons we've been able to be more consistent this year. And as you said, his performances week in and week out don't fluctuate that much, and that's what makes the best players the best players. They're able to do it week in and week out, and he's shown that he's been able to do that for us, so incredibly pleased.
Absolutely. One player that's been missing in the last couple of weeks has been Corey Tregenza. What's been the latest on him, and do you expect him to front up in the second semi-final?
So, yeah, unfortunately for Corey, hurt his ankle and had to have surgery. So he's touch and go, but we're hoping he'll be available if we're able to make it, available prelim or grand final weekend. So he's doing everything he can to make sure he's up and available for that.
So he won't play in the second semi-final either way?
No.
Well, that is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate for him. He's had another good season. He's kicked a couple of big bags of goals, and that tall timber in the forward line is going to be such a key during the final series. But having said that, you've got a good small forward brigade led by one Charlie Nichols, who's been able to kick some goals, and we mustn't forget your match winner from halfway through the season, Aidan Riddle.
Yeah, that's the depth has been pleasing, and then we've been able to bring in Darcy Wills the last 3 or 4 weeks since Corey's gone down as well to help bolster the forward line there. You know what it's like. Finals are heavily contested games, and to be able to trust your forwards ahead of the ball when you're feeling that pressure is really key. And those guys have done a great job. Even if they haven't won the contested mark, they've brought it to ground and brought our small forwards into the game all year.
Now, of course, you on the side watching the qualifying final on Saturday with intent. I know this does get thrown around a lot, and a lot of people like to answer it. A lot of people don't. Who would you prefer to face in that second semi-final? Which side do you think you're going to be more prepared for in that second semi-final? Because both Claremont and Perth, they're wanting that spot.
Oh, look, we have no choice in that. That's out of our control. Whatever happens in that game happens, and whoever wins, we'll prepare for them as we prepare week in and week out for every opponent. I'll be watching on intently, like you said, intrigued to see how the game plays out. But, there's no preference or anything like that. It's just whoever wins, and we'll prepare and do our due diligence.
Now, summed it up very well there. Great response. Now, I've got a bit of not really a bone to pick, but something that I want to say to the fans as well. Sometimes, you see these great people, fans, in the most unexpected of surroundings. True story. When I made my way over to the Sports Connection, the show that I do on weekdays on Sport FM, I saw Adam Reid driving along in a great light blue Mustang, shouted out my name and gave me the thumbs up. Adam, that was one of the most pleasant surprises I could have all year.
Mate, it was the highlight of my day. I drive along that road to work every morning and not much happens, and I saw you wandering along. You do a great job for the WAFL, mate, and incredibly grateful for everything you do for our league. So thought, yep, absolutely, wind down the window and give you a good shout-out.
Fantastic stuff. Love it as always, and I love the Mustang, mate. It's simply sensational. And so is Peel Thunder in 2026. Once again, congrats on the minor premiership, and all the best in the second semi-final in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks a lot, Adam.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me, mate.
And there he goes, driving away in the Mustang as always. Love the light blue paint job. Adam Reid joining us here, but Peel Thunder are like a well-painted machine in 2026. Top spot on the ladder and into the second semi-final as a result. But who will they take on? Will they take on Claremont or will they take on Perth? Fans, let us know in the comments below or on our socials, who do you think is going to win the premiership out of the 5 teams that are taking part in the 2026 WAFL Final Series? It's going to be a great final series, this one. Do you think Peel Thunder with their top of the ladder finish? Do you think they've got the momentum despite 2 straight losses in the home and away season? The wheels haven't really fallen off, but one would say they're a bit creaky. But do you think that they can still get it done? What about Claremont? Can they finally get that extra edge to win the premiership? Is it Perth's year at last after a long way away from the Premiership Cup? South Fremantle, can they win it from 4th? Or can East Perth do the impossible and win it from 5th? It is going to be a lot of fun, this final series. Let us know on the socials and also on our Around the Waffle YouTube channel. It's going to be one hell of a final series. Later on, we have got Ross McQueen, the East Perth coach, who's going to join us in this finals edition as we look ahead to the elimination final coming up against South Fremantle. And that's going to be a big one, make no mistake about that. There's also been some news before this recording this morning. There's been a lot of talk surrounding a highly rated WA young gun, Axel Walsh. He's put his hand up for a senior finals debut. Now, he had a great display in East Perth's reserves team last weekend against Subiaco. He amassed 20 disposals, 23 hit-outs, 6 clearances, and booted 3 goals in his first game as in the reserves. And he was named best of field in that win over Subiaco to secure them the double chance. Now, Ross McQueen has admitted during the week that the 17-year-old could challenge for the senior selection in Sunday's elimination final and could not speak highly of him and his character, and he'll become the 13th state 18s player to debut in league this season. And these are the players that have debuted so far: Lucas Robinson, Cam Maynard, both from South Fremantle. From Claremont, Heath Melody, George Gale and Benji Van Rooyen. Harper Banfield, Garrison Kent and Cody Lee, who've played for the West Coast Eagles. Leo Steed, the Noble Steed from Swan Districts. Fraser Rickson of Subiaco. And from West Perth, Harvey Sporting Guy and Kobe Lacra, who have both played league after coming from the state 18s. We'll ask Ross McQueen about that and his chances before team selection. Now, team selection is, of course, put out. So with all that in mind, let's give you a look at the teams on who they have selected for the respective finals. First, the Saturday team, and of course Sunday's team will be put out later on today from the time of this recording. This is the team for the qualifying final, Claremont and Perth. So there you go. Those are the ins and outs for Claremont and Perth, and we'll have a detailed preview of that very shortly here on Around the Waffle, so you do not want to miss any of that. It's going to be a sensational finals series. We'll take a break, our first break, and when we do come back, we'll give you a forecast of each of the 5 teams, a quick forecast of the finals teams for 2026. And again, on the comments and also on the socials, who do you think is going to be crowned 2026 WAFL Premiers? We'll be back. First, Around the Waffle Finals Edition for 2026. Stay where you are. More to come.
Take it from me, great things happen at the Waffle.
Valentine rides and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The Waffle is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the Waffle on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate.
On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley. proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years. Selling top-name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems. Stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley. Or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
Thanks very much for joining us here on Around the WAFL, our first finals edition for 2026, as we head into the business end of the season. 5 teams remain in the race for the premiership. We'll have a brief finals forecast for each of the 5 teams. We'll go in order of the 5. We'll start with Peel Thunder, the minor premiers, first time in club history. And despite the 2 losses in a row, and as illustrated by Adam Reid, they have always maintained a good level of consistency, and they've been a more mentally tougher side in 2026 compared to 2025. A very young side that they had last year and a lot of injuries. This year, there has been very few as far as injuries are concerned, and they've been able to get some very good recruits in that side. They also brought in a couple of youngsters from the Fremantle list to have a go at the Peel Thunder WAFL side. Their depth has been very good. Their tall forwards have really been a standout. Tregenza, when he's been on the field, and Aidan Riddle having signed a 2-year contract extension at Fremantle, and has been able to cement himself as a key match winner. Case in point, the round against Claremont in that game where they won after the siren and pinched a top spot on the ladder for themselves. But what I like about Peel Thunder and why they're the premiership favourites is, as I said before, they're a mentally tougher side this year, and Adam Reid has really instilled that into his players, and he's really gotten that strong message to be read through by his players, not just the young players, but the players that have been in the side for quite a long time. When you talk about the likes of Wagner, who's been a Dockers listed player for quite a long time, when you've also got very strong midfield in the form of Bailey Banfield, Toby Wan, the former South Fremantle Colts player, and Lockie Tardrew, who was one of the big finds of 2026, having come over from Collingwood as a VFL captain, 100 games of experience, and his performances don't fluctuate. And that really, I think, is a collective on the Peel Thunder side. Apart from the 4 losses that they had this year, the 4 losses that they had this year, their performances haven't really fluctuated. They've remained consistent. Tardrew consistently getting over 30 disposals. Nichols, before he got injured, consistently amongst the goals. The small brigade in the likes of Nichols and Sanders chipping in front of goal. And you also have the backline led by Hugh Davies, who's emerged as one of the best defenders in the competition, consistently racking up intercept mark after intercept mark, and really shutting out any opposition forward. So the forecast does fall in favour of Peel Thunder. They're the favourites for a reason, because of their depth, their mental toughness, and their improved discipline. And those losses, when you think about it, were only by 3 goals or less, so they haven't been badly beaten at all this season. So the momentum heading into the final series is all with Peel Thunder at this stage. The wheels haven't fallen off despite those 2 straight losses to finish off the home and away season. Now Claremont, who finished in 2nd place and of course earned the right to host the qualifying final, can they have that extra edge to win the premiership? Because that has always been the question around this Claremont side. They're stacked with talent. On paper, they are the best side in the competition, we always say at the beginning, because of the talent they have at both ends of the ground. Players have evolved in their game. Zach Mainwaring in particular, before he got that concussion in round 19. Bailey Rogers, he's battled through injury, but he's continued to take his place in the field and play some great games against high-quality opposition. Kieran Gowdy, he's emerged as a key tall forward, has spent a lot more time in the wing. Taylor DeLacy has done likewise, but last week, of course, he and Gowdy were played as tall forwards, which is their preferred position. They're utilised better when in that forward line. And you've got the back line led by Hardesty and Mountford, who consistently get the job done from defensive 50. And as we said before, your midfield brigade led by Elliot Alvarez, who's having a breakout season, and Callan England, who came back from that leg injury quite strongly toward the end of the season and amassed a lot of ball. But this extra edge in the finals obviously needs to be elevated, because the point I made earlier was Claremont, they are a strong side on paper, and they always seem to be a threat. But when it comes to finals time, they seem to lose that extra edge. They cannot do so this year. They need to go deep into September to really prove that they can be a premiership contender, because we've seen them perform in finals and they have been suspect. They can't really take their chances. You look at the semi-final loss to Peel Thunder in 24 when they didn't capitalise in front of goal. Same with the preliminary final last year against East Perth, and they lost by a kick in that one as well. So it's all about taking your chances in these finals. Claremont have got the cattle and resources to do so. Can they actually do it? That's another question. I can say yes, but there'll obviously be a few blips on the radar. Make no mistake about that, because finals is a different kettle of fish. What about Perth? Is it their year at last? Well, they've proven that despite being unconvincing at times, they're still able to get the results on the board. They finished up in third place and earned the double chance, which I reckon is a real bonus for Mark Stone's men. And for Mark Stone's men, if they are to go really deep into September and go to that grand final, they're going to have to really show what the new Perth is all about. The new Perth, ironically, began against Claremont in round 10, where they beat Claremont in Claremont, and they had the new Perth written on the board. They've had lapses. They've had that loss to Subiaco after blowing a big lead. Of course, they were beaten by an injury-riddled East Perth. But apart from those blips, they have a lot of character in their side, led by the likes of Constable, who has had another great season in midfield, racking up over 30 disposals a game. Brendan Parfitt continues to add some spark in the middle. Up forward, Aaron Clark, he's been inconsistent at times, but when he's at his best, he can kick big bags, including bags of 5 and 6 during the season. Kane Johnston has been able to add a little bit of extra tall timber in the forward line. You've also got Zach Harding and Josh Edwards. They form a solid ruck duo, and they'll have a big match up against Ollie Eastland on Saturday in the qualifying final. And also down back, you look at their backline unit, they have really stood out amongst the pack. I mean, when you look at the big three down back, Scoble, Dean, and Taylor. They have been there for much of the season. Indy Kirk has had a lot of trouble with injury this year and has not played as many games as many would expect. But that back three, that big three down back, has really been impressive to watch. There's no doubt about that. A good blend of youth and experience. The experience lies in the form of the Silver Fox Matthew Taylor and also Elijah Scoble. But Charlie Dean, he's still a young man. He's come over from Collingwood, won our Player of the Year, of course, in our Monday night recap show. And his key role in being that lockdown defender against any opposition forward line has been so crucial for the Demons. That's what they needed. Their defence had a couple of holes in the 2025 season that they weren't able to fill, but Charlie Dean has filled that void, there's no doubt. And Perth, if they can keep every key player healthy as well, then that's going to be a real bonus. So could it be the Demons' year at last? There's every chance they can make it happen. South Fremantle, the reigning premiers. Just about a week ago, there was the possibility that they could even miss the 5. But they've hit form at the right time with wins over East Fremantle and Peel Thunder to finish off the home and away season. And Craig White highlighted it so well in the paper recently that they are hitting form at the right time, and it is possible to win the premiership from 4th place. Many are saying that unless you finish in the top 3, you can't win the premiership. It's anyone's possibility to win it from the elimination final, and it could be the case this year. South Fremantle are getting that hunger back, and especially when they have some good players back in their side, good A-graders in that side. And those that have won the premiership last year in the form of Rusco, Free, Jones, they have been in great form. It's such a good time in the season. Despite Noah Strom being out for the rest of the season with an ankle injury, there's still a lot of firepower in the forward line. You talk about Donaldson, who's one of the best small forwards in the competition, still very mobile. When he's at his best, he can really create great opportunities in front of goal. He's a real goal sneak, and he's complemented so well by Trey Rusco, who kicked 5 in that win over Peel Thunder. And he's starting to get back to his best. There's no doubt about that. And when he's got great support in the forward line from the form of Jermaine Jones, even the likes of Lucas Robinson, who can skid up forward a little bit and kick the odd goal here and there. Chase Bourne, Jordan Bollineau, who started down back early in his career but has found a home up forward in recent years. And, if you're hitting form at the right time and you're backing that up in the finals, you know that you've got your good form and your good core of players back in their true mojo. And that is going to be a big key for South Fremantle in this final series. And, of course, their opponents, East Perth, they have really been running the gamut. They've had a lot of injuries this season, particularly to key players, and that's what's made it a frustrating year for Ross McQueen in one sense. But when you talked about Axel Walsh, who could make his debut on Sunday in the elimination final, it's all about blooding that young talent. And I've been really impressed with Ross McQueen's ability to blood young talent under the toughest of circumstances, the best of which is Tyler Lindbergh, who absolutely crushed it in the reserves grand final last year and has really proven that he deserves to have his place in the league's side. And if Lindbergh is suited up for the elimination final and is a consistent part of East Perth's finals campaign, that could go a long way into winning the premiership. Having said that, with the injuries to Brayshaw and Amajuri that sidelined them for much of the season, the midfield owners had to fall on the likes of Tedesco and North. And Tedesco has played that role a little better, I would think. Tedesco's been getting over 30 disposals. He's getting involved in the contest, providing the physical pressure. He's a good all-round midfielder, and he's a good kick of the footy as well. He can accumulate plenty of distance with those long penetrating kicks inside 50. So, despite the injuries that they have had, East Perth's still in with a reasonable chance. They just really need to get that edge that got them to 2 grand finals, because it has been a tough year. There's no sugarcoating that. It's been a tough year with injuries and a lack of consistent results. But they're in the 5. Even though they're not going into it with the best of momentum, they've been up and down across the season. That heavy loss to Subiaco would have put them out of the 5, but they got within that 7-goal threshold. But they should not be making up the numbers. Many are saying, East Perth, they're making up the numbers. They're not looking convincing. Said the same thing with South Fremantle. They're not just there to make up the numbers. They're there to make a real tilt at the premiership. So anything's possible in this final series. Like I said earlier, who do you think's going to win the flag? Let us know in the comments on the Around the Waffle YouTube channel and, of course, on our socials on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to clear a break, and when we do come back, we've got East Perth coach Ross McQueen set to go to chat about the elimination final and the prospect of Alex Walsh making his debut. Stay where you are here on Around the Waffle, our first finals edition of 2026, as we build into week 1 of the final series. It's going to be a belter. Stay with us.
Take it from me, great things happen at the Waffle.
Valentine rides and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The Waffle is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the Waffle on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate.
On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
You're back with us here on Around the Waffle. Paul Persick with you, riding solo today in the Henhouse studio. The elimination final between last year's grand finalists. Dare I say it, there's going to be a lot of heat and intensity in this clash at Fremantle Oval on Sunday as the reigning premiers take on last year's runners-up, and both sides aren't here to make up the numbers, that's for sure. They have got a big tilt at the premiership because of how close this competition has been. But East Perth, of course, despite the loss to Subiaco in round 20, they're still in the 5, but there's no doubt they're going to make that great opportunity to full use. Ross McQueen, of course, the coach of East Perth, has been in 2 grand finals and is determined to make it 3 in a row. But he's going to have to do it the hard way from 5th place, which can be possible this year. I wonder if he agrees. Ross McQueen, hello, mate.
Yeah, hey, how you going, Paul? Great to chat.
Great to have you on the show. Been a tough season, hasn't it, with a lot of injuries and the closeness of the competition. From your perspective, how have you rated the home and away season?
Yeah, no, it's been a good season. You're right. It's been nice and tight every week. You expect the best from everyone, from the opposition, which has certainly been the case. Look, we've had some terrific wins, and there's been times where we've gone to the game thinking, well, we've prepared well, and it's been handed back to us. So, no, it's been a really tight competition, and one we've really enjoyed, and we're really excited the fact that we've made it to the finals again. You start the summer with that in mind, and that's the plan. And really pleased that this weekend we get to go out and have a crack at South Fremantle, who also have had a really strong year again.
Yeah, hitting form at the right time too. Injuries to key players can also be very frustrating for any league coach. Of course, you had that a lot during the season, especially with Amajuri and Brayshaw. It was a nice relief for Brayshaw to suit up for his first match in 11 weeks, and he had a pretty good performance despite the loss.
Yeah, no, it's good to have Hamish back. Obviously, a quality player and a very good human being as well. Like he leads very well, not just on the field, but off the field. He's got plenty of banter, plenty of chat, so it was great to have him back there. And this weekend we'll get Christian back as well. He passed his concussion test, which is really pleasing for him. Like, most importantly, that he's healthy and safe. But yeah, we're excited to have him back, and yeah, looking forward to, like I said, the opportunity this weekend.
And that's a big boost for East Perth with Amajuri coming back. So that is great news for East Perth fans. There's also another young player that you spoke of quite highly during the WAFL Finals launch on Tuesday, Axel Walsh. He's been really pleading his case for a league debut. He had a great performance in the reserves, and you've rated him quite highly.
Yeah, no, Axel's a quality young man. Like he's obviously still at school now, so he's working his way through that. And he's had a busy program this year. I think he's had National Academy, State Academy. He was at the Colts training for a little bit. I don't think he's actually played a game of Colts this year. So on the weekend was actually the first game he's managed to squeeze in for us. And, yeah, performed really strongly, along with a few of the other blokes in there. And Axel's got a bright future in front of him, I'm sure. But, like I said, a very level-headed young man.
I've been very impressed with the young talent that your side has blooded this year in the midst of all the injuries that you've had to key players, not just Walsh, who's put his hand up strongly via a great performance in the reserves, but you've also got Spasevsky, who made his league debut, and Tyler Lindbergh, who had a great performance in the reserves grand final, won the Merv McIntosh medal last year, and he's played a variety of roles this year when he's been in that league side as a key midfielder and as a small forward. His versatility really is going to be crucial for East Perth's finals campaign.
Yeah, Tyler's really improved his football. Like, I think last year he played 3 or 4 league games, and this year he's played 14 or 15, which is some real growth in his game. And like I said, at different times he's really added to our midfielder and the forward line. He's got genuine speed, and he's got some great attributes there. Like most young players, he's got plenty to keep learning and things like that. But we're really pleased with how he's gone, and Will Cassidy and Xavier Milner and Jaden Peake. And there's a lot there. Andre Galini and Brodie Delaney played some football earlier in the year, so we've had some young guys there, and also, as you referenced, though, some of the senior players have had interrupted years, but they're starting to come back, and they'll be pushing their case as well. Like I said before, Christian and Jaden Peake.
In recent weeks as well, with Amajuri and Brayshaw both being out of the side for the majority of the second half of the season, the midfield owners, I reckon, fell on Liam Tedesco, and he played his role quite well. He's one of those that has similar qualities to Amajuri and Brayshaw, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, Liam's been terrific for us. He obviously had an interrupted pre-season. He couldn't start training really till February. Had a back problem, and to his credit, he worked away. He had about 8 or 10 week block there to try and get himself going, and then he's come in and took a couple of weeks to find his feet. But it definitely has been through the midfield there, really giving us an opportunity to match the contest. It's never easy around the stoppage. You come up some of the best stoppage teams in the competition, which was Subiaco on the weekend, and this weekend we got South Fremantle, who I rate their midfield really highly. But Liam's done a terrific job in that regard, and again, another guy who's willing to play inside, outside, or even go forward a bit. I haven't tried him down back yet, but I'm sure if I asked him to, he'd do that as well.
Now, of course, you've beaten South Fremantle twice in the home and away season. You're expecting them to come out, a very determined side, very ferocious, and, of course, you're expecting to counter that with as much ferocity in the contest as the Bulldogs because, they'll be very determined to try and make up the ledger.
Oh, very much so. Like they've done exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to make finals again on the back of a terrific year last year, so they've done that. They're a super competitive team. They work hard within the game, but also go physically, so we'll understand we'll have to match that, and if you can split those things, then it comes down to a bit of structure and hopefully a bit of skill and maybe a little bit of luck will go our way. But, the 2 games early in the year, one was about 3 weeks ago, was in the wet, so it was a very different day of football. We got a decent sort of storm that day. And early, I think it must be around round 8. I'm not exactly sure. It was a beautiful sunny day.
Round 9.
Round 9, there you go, at Leederville. So two very different days. Look, we only got both those games late, and I anticipate this for the same day, same this time. Whoever's there at the end, fighting out, and look, it could be a kick either way. So that's our hope, and we just hope we're in the front when that final siren goes.
Well, the only storm that's going to be given to the public is going to be a storm of fantastic football with bright conditions forecast on Sunday. Ross, we really appreciate your time here on Around the Waffle. All the best in the elimination final against the Bulldogs on Sunday.
Thanks very much, Paul. Great work, mate, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Fantastic stuff. Ross McQueen, the East Perth coach, joining us here on Around the Waffle ahead of what is going to be a massive elimination final. And let's go to week 1 of the finals, and this is going to be a real cracker. We start off on Saturday live on Channel 7 from 2:10, the qualifying final between Claremont and Perth. This one is an absolute beauty. It's a matchup of pure attack and defence, one would suggest, although both have got great attacking lineups. When you look at Claremont, Gowdy and DeLacy being your 2 main forwards, your main tall timber forwards. We mustn't forget Alec Waterman is your prime small forward who can play a bit up the middle as well. You've got Perth, who have also got a good blend of tall and small forwards, Kane Johnston and Aaron Clark. So it could be a matchup of attack, but it also could be a matchup of backlines when you're looking at Claremont's backline, led by Hardesty and Mountford. But you've got the big 3 for Perth, Dean, Taylor, and, of course, Elijah Scoble. Will Perth take the chance on Blake Schlensog? There's been a lot of reports that Schlensog could play in the league side. He's had an interrupted season with injury, but Mark Stone could take a chance and bring in Blake Schlensog. I'll ask him that later on when we go on location to Mineral Resources Park to chat with Mark Stone. Having said that, there is the chance that if he doesn't get played in the league side, he could play in the reserves because they've got the qualifying final against East Perth earlier that day. So they might want to take it cautiously and play him in the reserves, get him some managed minutes before they get him onto the league side for either the first or the second semi-final. Looking at the ledger so far, it's 1-1. Of course, if you remember, Claremont won 17-9 to 8-11 in round 6, and then it went to the away team again in round 10, in this case Perth, 17-6 to 14-7, and that catapulted Perth's push to the double chance. What lessons can Claremont learn out of that defeat? And now that they're starting to get back some of that momentum, they're playing some trademark Claremont football. How will they approach this qualifying final against Perth? What I will say, if I'm Ash Prescott, don't take the Perth lightly. Do not take Perth lightly, and I think Perth and Mark Scone will adapt that same theory. Just because you've beaten one another this year, do not take each other lightly. This is a very different kettle of fish. It's a highly intense finals encounter. Of course, this is a rematch from last year's first semi-final as well, when Claremont got over the top of the Demons at home in wet conditions. But with dry conditions forecast, expect this one to be free-flowing, all-out attack, and possibly a high-scoring game. A great way to kick off the final series, and plenty of marquee matchups to look out for. You could put Corey Byrne against Callan England. Byrne, of course, 150 gamer from last week. Both good small inside midfielders that can get plenty of the ball and deliver it straight into attack. The ruck battle is also going to be interesting too. Eastland, of course, who's his second option going to be in the ruck? Is it going to be Gowdy? Is it going to be DeLacy? For Perth, they've got 2 options. They've got Josh Edwards and they've got Zach Harding, who's been averaging over 20 hitouts across the last 4 games. And that is going to be a boost for Perth. They've got that extra ruck option that can play that second ruck role. Claremont, who are they going to go with? That's going to be the big question. My pick, this might drive some people crazy, but I'm going with Perth. The Demons have the tools to learn from those past few games against Claremont. They've now shown that they can beat a side like Claremont. And they've got the cattle to beat Claremont at Revo Fitness Stadium for a second time. But what they have to do is get off to a good start. A good start is going to be a key, because if you give Claremont a good start, they could run away with the game. They're a very good starting side. They're not as much a good finishing side as they are a good starting side. So Claremont, they want to get off to a good start, or otherwise Perth will catch up and run away with the game. So I'm going with the Demons, but should be a close one. It will be a great contest, make no mistake about that. Now we go over to the elimination final. No second chances for South Fremantle and East Perth. Only one of them will get that chance to continue their bid for the grand final. It begins at 2:10, also live on Channel 7 from Fremantle Community Bank Oval, and also it's going to be in great conditions too. So the ground, not as much foot traffic as it had done in previous weeks because of the WAFL W Grand Final we had last week down at Fremantle Oval. But gee, this is a game that might get physical. Expect this game to be physical and with a little bit of spite, because you'd say South Fremantle would owe East Perth one after the 2 losses they had to the Royals in what was very wet conditions, and that's what we've got to consider. Both those results are in wet conditions, and East Perth, usually they're quite damaging in the wet conditions, but they weren't so against Subiaco in round 20. They've really struggled for consistency across the season, and they've become hard to trust at times. But now that the home and away season is but a memory, and you've got Amajuri coming back into the side, possibly Axel Walsh making his debut, Hamish Brayshaw coming off a great return last weekend, it is all or nothing for East Perth, because they want to solidify that they can be contenders for a spot in the grand final, but they need to put in a better performance than they did against Subiaco, and as a matter of fact, than they had against South Fremantle on the last 2 occasions. Of course, round 9 of this year, East Perth won by 8 goals. And then in round 18 at Fremantle Oval, the Royals won again, this time by 20 points. And that was when South Fremantle were going through a lot of hoopla with injuries and players gallivanting around Europe. But with the likes of Rusco back in form, Donaldson starting to re-solidify his reputation as a goal sneak, and also when you have that midfield that is damaging as anything, Florenka and Bletchenden, who can get over 30 disposals and provide that first use to their forwards, that is also going to be so important for South Fremantle. Scotty Jones, of course, was rested from the game against Subiaco. If he comes back and matches up on Hamish Free, that is a huge bonus. Make no mistake about that. And if you wonder if Jones and Free will get into it during the contest, you can bet your bottom dollar they will, because it is going to be a contest of physicality and also spite, because obviously with what happened earlier this year and of course in last year's grand final. So expect this contest to be heated and physical. But I'm going to go with South Fremantle in this one. Bulldogs are hitting form at the right time. They're getting some players back at the right time. And Craig White has really got them going. They've got some good wins on the board. They hammered East Fremantle in the round 19 derby. And then that win against Peel Thunder in round 20, when they trailed for much of the day, really has restored that self-belief that they can defend their premiership from 4th place. May seem impossible, but it is possible. So they're hitting form at the right time. And to be blunt, they owe East Perth one after that performance in rounds 9 and also 18. So I reckon they owe them one in 2026. Let me know who you think's going to win week 1 of the finals. You can let us know on our YouTube channel in the comments below, and also on the socials, Facebook and Instagram. We've got more to come. Stay where you are. Back with more of Around the WAFL Finals Edition after this.
Take it from me, great things happen at the WAFL.
Valentine rides and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The WAFL is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the WAFL on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
This is Around the Waffle Finals Edition, the first for 2026. It's all thanks to the fine folks at Grant's Cars Stereo Morley, Dishwood Promotions down at Eastvic Park, Front Row Screen Sport, and of course, Sullivan Logistics, transport specialist in West Australia for 30 years. Now time for Around the Waffle Flashback. And of course, with South Fremantle and East Perth battling it out in the elimination final, let's go to a final that had plenty of spite. We're going to go back to 2001. Now, that was the last time before last year that East Perth and South Fremantle had met in the grand final. Now, East Perth were coached by the great Tony McHale, and South Fremantle were coached by Peter Sumich. So there you go. Let's go back to 2001 and our Around the Waffle flashback.
Paul Simmons, very experienced player. Troy Butcher with half a lead, but Simmons will come in and go for distance, gets plenty of it, right up towards the goal line and through. So first blood to East Perth. After Devon Perry cleared the congested centre square. Over the boundary throw in, clears the pack. Chisholm was dragged down high. Well, the umpires, I think, see the need.
They don't want to give frees right here.
Well, he let Travis Knight know he was playing in the grand final in the first minute of play. Now he comes in and kicks a goal for South Fremantle, which is just what they wanted. Was under a lot of pressure, but Seagate does well. He goes by left boot, just inside 50. The ball cleared Simmons, and Gasper making another
mile an hour to the left of screen.
Yeah, we're used to see it swirling here at Subi Oval from just outside 50. Gasper puts it on its way. Well, no problems for Travis Gasper into the breeze. You can see that
now going to shoot on goals for his second. Dead in front. To the three-tier stand, and he's guided it home.
Wide. Well done by Hayden to intercept it, but it bounces into the arms there of Barnard, whose good vision and good foot passes found Butcher. Butcher now, low trajectory.
Still counts that way, so the umpire's got it half right.
Devon Perry has kicked 2 goals. This is a very clever kick. He's got 3. Waller sockers it clear. Bottrell was in there. Now Turvey giving him support. Gives it to Tinsley. Chip pass to the unattached Gasper there. Sends East Perth back into attack. This is Buzan. The ball cleared the head of goal. Buzan snaps on goal. Very, very high. Meeting it hard there was Simmons. Ridley controls it to ground level. Now it's Cowell. Can he kick a goal this time? Swings it across his body, and at last, Brent Cowell. Try again. The most difficult.
Inside 50 it goes. At the fall hung. Snaps it high. Up towards the goal square. Buzan is in front. Great mark.
And before they bounce the ball so they can celebrate properly.
31 minutes gone. 82 points the margin. South's going forward through Rennick, up towards half forward. Ball pitches awkwardly. Butcher to mop up in defence. Gathers. There it is. For the first time in 17 years, consecutive premierships in the WAFL. East Perth running out winners. Their 16th WAFL flag to the massive margin of 82 points.
Not a good day if you're a South Fremantle fan, but a great day if you're an East Perth fan, and some familiar faces you might see there too. Ryan Turnbull, one of them, a Sandover medalist that year, and won the flag as well. Can't ask for any better than that. A great week it was for East Perth then, but will it be this week? You'll have to wait and see. Big thanks to all our guests, Adam Reid, Ross McQueen and Mark Stone during our On Location segment. And a big thanks to you for tuning in to the first of our finals editions. Now, from this point forward, until the week after the grand final, our finals edition episodes will be released on Wednesday morning. So be on the lookout for those on YouTube and where you get your podcast. This is our last Thursday or Friday, in this case, preview show for the next month, because we're going to be releasing one show a week throughout the finals starting this Wednesday. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Enjoy the finals. It's going to be a great final series in 2026. Claremont on Saturday, Fremantle on Sunday, and it is going to be a sensational September as we lead up to the big dance at Optus Stadium on September 20. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.